Ready to strengthen your reading comprehension? Take a listen.
Okay, picture this. You see those flashing red and blue lights in your rearview mirror. Your heart starts pounding, right? A million thoughts race through your head. But what if, instead of panic, you had a plan? A calm, lawful script designed not for a fight, but for absolute clarity. So that's what we're diving into. We're gonna break down a very specific tactical script for navigating a roadside stop. Now, this isn't about getting into some big legal argument on the side of the road. No, it's about something much smarter. Preserving your constitutional rights calmly and effectively.
So here's how we're gonna break it down. First, we'll get into why a plan is so important to begin with. Then, we'll jump into the heart of it all, this simple two-question protocol, and you'll see how it creates two totally different paths. After that, we'll explore the big why, the legal strategy that makes this whole thing work, and we'll wrap it all up with a few golden rules you'll want to remember.
So you might be thinking, why do I even need a script for a traffic stop? Well, the thing is, not every stop is just about a broken taillight. Some are what are known as pretextual stops, and that's where things can go sideways fast if you're not ready for it. A pretextual stop is basically when an officer uses a tiny infraction, a crocked taillight, maybe you didn't signal a full 100 feet before your turn, as the excuse to pull you over. But their real goal? It's to investigate you for something completely different. And that's how a simple stop gets very complicated.
And that's really the whole point here. The goal of a script like this is to calmly and lawfully put your constitutional protections on the record, right from the very start. It's about setting clear boundaries, but without being confrontational. You're just making sure the whole interaction is legally solid.
Okay, so with that background, let's get to the main event, the two-question protocol. This is the heart of the strategy. It's your opening move, and it's all about clarifying the legal nature of the stop from the jump. Now, this part is super specific. Right after the officer makes a request, like for your license and registration, the script says you respond in a steady, calm voice. Before I comply, I have two questions. The wording here is powerful. It shows you're cooperative, you said comply, but it also signals that you're aware of your rights. And here they are. These are the two questions. The first one is a simple, direct yes or no fork in the road. Are you conducting a criminal investigation? The officer's answer to this changes everything. Then, the second question drills down. Am I the subject or am I a witness? So let's play this out. Let's go down the first path. Imagine you ask your question and the officer says, yes, I am conducting a criminal investigation. Well, that immediately takes us down branch A of our script. And now your second question becomes crucial because it clarifies your role. Are you the subject, meaning they're investigating you? Or are you a witness, meaning they think you might have seen something? These are two very, very different situations. If the officer confirms that you are the subject of the investigation, the script is incredibly direct and powerful. You calmly state, then I reserve the right to remain silent. I'm not going to obstruct your investigation. You see what you did there? You just invoked your Fifth Amendment right without being hostile. You've also made it clear you won't physically resist. And then you stay silent. But what if they say you're just a witness? Totally different response. The script goes, since I am the witness, I have nothing further to contribute. And then you pivot to the most important part. Am I being detained or am I free to go? This clarifies your status and pushes to end the interaction. That last question is absolutely key. Okay, let's rewind. Let's go back to that very first question you asked. What happens if you say, are you conducting a criminal investigation? And the officer's answer is no. Well, that takes us down branch B, a completely different road. So if it's not a criminal investigation, then the stop should only be about the traffic ticket, right? The script gets right to the point. You say, then if this is not a criminal investigation, I do not consent to any questioning, search, or seizure. Am I free to leave? You are clearly stating your non-consent and, once again, asking that all-important question to end the encounter.
And what if they keep pushing or trying to ask questions? Well, the script has a simple, powerful follow-up for that too. You just repeat, I do not consent to this stop and reserve all rights. It's like putting a pin in it, a clear verbal marker of your legal position, for the record.
So we've walked through the script, the what to say, but now for the really interesting part. Why does this actually work? What's the legal chess game that's happening behind these simple words? These aren't just random words. Every single phrase is engineered to flip a specific legal switch. When you say, "I reserve the right to remain silent," boom, you've just invoked the Fifth Amendment. When you ask, "Am I free to go?" you're directly addressing your Fourth Amendment rights. It draws a line in the sand, creates a record, and does it all without a fight.
And when you ask if you're being detained, you're essentially forcing the officer to justify the stop under a specific legal standard. Often, this is something called a Terry stop, which means they need a reasonable, articulable suspicion that you're involved in a crime. It can't just be a gut feeling or a hunch.
And really, this is the bottom line. The absolute genius of this protocol is that it forces the officer to define the situation. On camera. Is this a criminal investigation? Yes or no. Am I being detained? Yes or no. Their answers create a factual record that could be absolutely crucial down the line.
All right, to bring it all home, let's talk about the golden rules. Think of these as the non-negotiable principles that make this entire script work safely and effectively.
Rule number 1, always record. It becomes your record of what happened. Rule 2, and this is maybe the most important, maintain your composure. Do not ever physically resist. Rule 3, stick to the plain English script. This is not the time or place to debate legal statutes. And finally, Rule 4, keep your hands visible and don't reach for anything until the situation has been clarified.
Look, at the end of the day, there are no magic words here. But what this really shows is the incredible power of clear, calm, and lawful communication. Phrases like this are tools for setting legal boundaries and protecting your rights. It's a powerful framework for a very specific, high-stress scenario. But it makes you think, doesn't it? Beyond just this one situation. In any part of our lives, when we're under pressure, how can just seeking clarity and setting clear boundaries be our most powerful form of protection?